let's explore these 8 phases of the moon so that you can begin to align yourself better and make more of your human existence on this planet. So we begin with the new moon every month. It happens once a month. So these phases of the moon transpire over the course of a month. We go from new moon to full moon, then into a waning moon, and back to the new moon again, a month on. So the new moon phase is actually a black moon. You cannot see it in the sky. It's when the moon is not receiving the light of the sun. So it's at its darkest point when it's new. So that's a very important wisdom right there. That in our darkest moments, when all things seem dark and uncertain, and we're a bit nervous or scared about what's next, that is exactly when the new beginnings are happening. Like seeds in the earth, in the dark, cold earth. And we can't see what's going on. And even the seed can't see what's going on. But there within, it's germinating. As the sun slowly begins to warm it, it's coming to life. So the new moon is a perfect time to set your new intentions. What is seated within you that you would like to witness to come alive in your life? And this is always what we need to do on a new moon, come into a meditation or setting of an intention for what you would like to witness come anew in your life. And there's many ways to do that. You can write it down on a piece of paper, put it under a flower pot with a new seed in it. And as your seed literally grows, so can your intentions. Or you could just watch it over the course of the 2 weeks that follow, from new moon to full moon, and see what comes into manifestation or being as the moon cycle moves on. So then from the new moon, we move into our beautiful crescent moon. That's so magical and romantic to witness, that little sliver in the sky. So that's in the days that follow, the week that follows the new moon. We see this inspiration of new seeds growing. It's the excitement you might feel in your heart, the little flutter, the anticipation of a bud, of something new has sprung. You can't fully see it yet in its fullness, but it's on its way. There's that sense of something exciting around the corner. So that's an energy we can really enjoy as we go into the crescent moon in the days that follow. Then we come along a few days later to the first quarter moon. And the first quarter moon is when it looks like a half moon in the sky. And this half moon is the waxing of the energies. As the moon is receiving more light from the sun and mirroring back out this energy that's received from the sun. And it's calling whatever we've seeded into more being. There's sprouts, there's growth happening in that first quarter. So it's wonderful to witness your intentions coming alive. Then we keep moving along approximately a week and a half, and we come to the gibbous moon. And the gibbous moon is 3/4 along in the light that's being reflected from the sun there. And it's a time of more buds coming out. So there's a multiplication of the energies and a kind of juiciness in the air of all that you have put forward into intention is getting closer to you. And the energies are building even stronger. And then finally, 2 weeks on, you get to the full moon, as we will be this week. And this gorgeous full moon energy is when the moon is fully reflecting the light of the sun. So we see the full circle. And it's essentially a magnification of all the energies that have been building up. And as we know from statistics out there, emergency rooms can be more full in a full moon. There's more crime, there's more accidents. That's on the negative side, but it's because the energies are intensifying, and whatever was inside people in the previous 2 weeks has built up to a crescendo. So if there were negative energies building up, that can result in accidents, in problems, in fights, in violence even. It's an intensification of energies. But on the positive side, if you're consciously working with the cycle of the moon, then it's a beautiful time of coming into full bloom, literally, of allowing all your visions to come into manifestation, into reality, and to magnify what's in your heart, to bring it into full vision. So you can really witness everything clearly. And at the same time, it's a time of release, because when we hit the fullness, like a cup coming to fullness, there might be an overflow, a release if there's been too much buildup of emotion, for example, or all these unconscious energies or emotions inside us coming up to the surface to be seen, to be illuminated into our consciousness. Because essentially the sun, the light of the sun represents consciousness, bringing things to light, illuminating, activating, inspiring a creative action. But let's talk about the waning moon. After the full moon, then we go through the waning part of the cycle. So another 4 phases to go. So the next phase is the disseminating moon, when it goes back to 3/4, but the light is receding of the sun away from the moon in the revolution around the earth. So this disseminating moon phase in the waning is calling the energies back into a more introverted phase, whereas new moon to full moon was a more extroverted phase. So we're going into a kind of digestion of all these intense energies experienced at the full moon. And we have to pause and feel, well, what did this experience of the full moon bring us, and how did that impact us emotionally in our real lives, and process whether that was something good for us or not. So it's kind of like if full moon was summer, the disseminating moon is starting to go into autumn. That maybe I wanted that experience, but it wasn't what I thought it was. So I have to pull back and reflect on it and reconsider what is right for me. What do I need to let go of and release? So the full moon to the disseminating moon period is a time of release of the energies. And sometimes that can happen quite intensely at the full moon. In fact, a lot of people who do rituals at the full moon like to write things they want to get rid of in their lives that they want to release. And they write those down at the full moon and burn them safely somewhere to release whatever they want to cut cords with or let go of in their lives. Yes, that's one way to work with those energies, but equally you can work with it in a more positive way that of what you want to bring into full presence in your life. And it can help illuminate important truths because our emotions are quite activated by full moons, and everything comes to the surface and comes into the light. So we can really see things for what they are and go beyond the illusions. So it's a soul truth illumination as well. And then the disseminating moon is more the letting go of the illusions or what no longer serves you in that autumn phase. And then we come up to another half moon, which is the last quarter moon, and in the waning phase. And this phase is a more harvest. So at the last quarter moon, whatever you've been processing over the past weeks is coming into a place where you can harvest the good aspects. What do you want to keep in your life? We know we're in a letting go phase, but at the same time, there's those kernels, those nuggets of beautiful, amazing experiences or moments, or like if you're a writer, for example, this might be the point where you've done a full draft of something by the full moon. You could be quite proud of yourself for achieving that, but then you go through the editing process and keep only those essential nuggets, those beautiful phrases or bits of your work that were really amazing, and you weed out all that wasn't useful, and maybe then you're making a submission to a publisher. It's a time to reap rewards and get down to what's really essential. And then from that waning moon, we go into its last phase, which is known as the balsamic phase. And that's nearly a crescent again, when the moon's nearly going to disappear into the black moon, or just before that new moon appears. So the balsamic moon is that final integration of all the energies, and it's kind of like the winter phase, where like a tree, when it's let go of all of its leaves, is left just with its core trunk and all the essential sap, fluids of life within it. And the squirrels have gathered all their nuts and stored them within the tree. And it's those essential integration of what really matters, what's going to keep you sustainable, what builds strength in you that you can move forward with into your next moon phase. So that we go through this process every month to keep bringing in the new, processing that, expanding that, coming into manifestation with the full moon, and then letting go, because oftentimes what we wish for, what we intend, is not exactly as we expected. It may be a different experience than we imagined or fantasized about. So then we need to clear the illusions and any regrets or disappointments and let go of things, but be grateful and thankful for whatever we did get out of an experience, the learning, or sometimes there are beautiful qualities or moments or experiences in whatever we were processing. So, it could be a relationship, it could be an art project, writing, it could be a work endeavor, many real life experiential matters can be explored through the lunar process and bring us to a deeper understanding of ourselves in relation to what we are manifesting and creating in the human interactive world, in the earthy world. So the more that we align with this, the more we can allow new things to happen in our lives. And every month, new amazing experiences could happen. And equally, every month we can do a kind of cleaning and cleansing and clearing and healing of things that we need to surrender and let go of. So it's a never-ending cycle that we go through every single month. And of course, women with our menses cycle in perfect synchronicity, we know we are such watery beings. So our cycles can completely synchronize with the lunar cycle. And we can recognize these oceans of emotion inside of us, how the moon pulls on the tides of us, the ebb and flow of our emotional energies and our hormones. And as we recognize these cycles, and men have them too in a more subtle way, they have the hormonal cycle and they can go through their moods and their phases as well. We can all go to the dark side of the moon or the light side of the moon. And it's all part of the whole. And the more that we align with this lunar cycle, the deeper awareness and understanding we have of the human emotional cycle and how to keep it healthy is to keep moving with the energies, not to stay stuck in any phase, not to feel like we always have to be at full moon phase and always on, or a new moon phase and always fresh and new. No, sometimes we go into those darker parts of us and we need a more quiet, introspective time of reflection, of downtime. And especially for women, after the full moon would be more the peak of a menstrual cycle. If there was no electricity, that's how we'd be in rhythm. And then we go into the waning where we have less energy in the waning part of the moon. After that, we need to resource ourselves, replenish the iron, take care of essentials and so on before we're ready to be juicy again at the new moon. So, and men, it's a subtle cycle on the same level. But of course, it would be easier to align with the lunar cycle if we had no electricity. We're out in nature and observing the moon in the sky more directly. And of course, many of us living urban lives don't have that advantage. So, you can look at a moon calendar is the way I actively keep track of it. So I favor the wee moon calendar, which is an amazing tool. Now, originally it's in California and I live in Ireland. So this is a woman's artistic calendar with poetry and art and whatnot. But it's beautiful because it follows the lunar cycle, which also has the astrological cycle in it. So we know what sign the moon's in. And that's a whole nother topic I can share in another video. But it's, that's the nuance of it, that if the moon's in a certain zodiac sign, it's going to have additional meaning for you and an additional purpose if you so desire to work with those energies very consciously, which I do. And it is helpful for me and perhaps for many people. So, but it's to make our lives easier is the reason we study these phases of the moon and work with them and align with them and do rituals around them and meditations around the cycles. So I hope you found this exploration of the 8 phases of the moon helpful. And I wish you magical lunar times ahead.